The future of gaming is multi-platform, getting your games into more places. Square Enix, of course, has had a history here of talking about putting their games onto Xbox, games that they've previously missed out on. And a lot of it has been because games just haven't met their expectations with the PlayStation deals that they have made, locking games to the PlayStation platform. We've heard Square Enix talk about this plenty of times, but they go on here to continue to talk about how their games cannot be exclusive to one console, which signals that the Final Fantasy games that have missed the Xbox platform are more than likely going to be coming over to Xbox. And it really just shows how this industry is going in that direction. Even with people wanting to stay focused only on console exclusivity, that is not going to be the way to grow. But we have some more information about that, so we will go over that. We have some more gameplay from South of Midnight, which looks absolutely phenomenal. Looks like the Nintendo Switch 2 release date potentially has leaked, and we have some updates here for the next generation of PC GPUs. Looking very powerful, but also very, very expensive. So that will be interesting to see how well these do sell right out of the gate when they do eventually launch. But before we continue, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit that subscribe, share the video, all of that stuff, and we'll jump in to the news. So we'll start off here talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and the fact that Square Enix here is implying that this game is eventually going to be launching on the Xbox. I know this is something that some people don't really care about, but a lot of people want to see it launched there, as Final Fantasy is a mainstream game. This isn't something that only sells well in Japan, and you would think they made that deal because of PlayStation being so big in that part of the world, and they don't really think that they were going to miss out on a ton of sales from the Xbox platform. But that just isn't the case here from a game like Final Fantasy. It does well on the Xbox platform, and there's already lots of games from Final Fantasy within Xbox Game Pass and everything. So they definitely see the value in it. But what happened was, clearly PlayStation dropped a huge bag here to lock these games away from Xbox, as it would be a major selling point for the console. And Square Enix has been talking about this for the last little while here throughout 2024, how they have to move away from console exclusivity. It's not a winning strategy going forward. It's not going to help their business grow. Their financial reports have shown that. The heads there have talked about it. And now we have an interview here with IGN Brazil. They interviewed two big name developers from Square Enix regarding the sales of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and they interviewed Naoki Hamaguchi, who is the director of FF7 Rebirth, and Yoshinari Katase, who is the director of the original PlayStation 1 version and the producer of the Final Fantasy franchise. And during the interview, they were talking here about the sales, and they say that they have been satisfactory and safe. And that is a very, very telling line if you're to ask me. Satisfactory and safe, meaning, okay, they did all right, but did they do enough to satisfy what the growth that they wanted to hit here, what shareholders in Square Enix wanted to see here? And the reality is probably not, which is why they're looking at this strategy and seeing that taking that bag to keep it exclusive did not pay off. And this is also, with that line there, they say is in stark contrast of their previous financial reports, which stated that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16 failed to meet the company expectations, which that is more along the lines, I would say, of the truth when they're talking about that in their financial reports. But in this interview, they're saying satisfactory and safe. It could have been better, but they're okay for now. And then they go on here and they quote here saying, while we are confident and pleased that we are reaching certain level of sales, it is clear with the modernity of gaming, we cannot be exclusive to a single platform. I think we need to offer the game to as many players as possible. And that is saying this game is coming over to more platforms, more than likely going to be launching on to Xbox. So if you're somebody here who has been waiting for this game to land on Xbox, I would say you can bet it is going to. The question I have more so than anything is, how are they going to do it? Is this going to be them launching it one by one like they did with the PlayStation versions? Or are they just going to wait until the third game is out and then release like a compilation of all three together in this just awesome package where you get to play through parts 1 to 3 on Xbox all at the same time, the definitive versions of this game? I would see that as a very smart thing to do, but you probably have to think they also kind of want to triple dip on the Xbox users by releasing each game separately rather than one singular package, unless that singular package is also obviously going to be very highly priced. Like it's going to be the cost of 3 games in one. So That will be an interesting thing to track. And will we get this announcement in 2025? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we're getting to that point where they come out here and make that announcement, at least for Final Fantasy 16, but then also when the contract ends for PlayStation 4, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. But it just really does show you a major company like Square Enix, who has one of the biggest IPs in gaming in Final Fantasy, looking at a huge deal they probably made with PlayStation. I mean, that bag must have been relatively large, and thinking, even with that, with the way that gaming is going, it being more modern now, people don't want to be locked away. They want to be able to choose where they play. And when you look at the strategy of Xbox right now, that's kind of what they have been leading on towards more. And even PlayStation, believe it or not, they have been moving in that direction too, with the way that they are launching their games. And if you're somebody who grew up with everything being locked to a singular console, you're looking at this, and it's definitely a time of change. But I think overall for the gamers, this is a great thing where more games are going to be landing everywhere, and less people are going to be locked out of playing some of the best games to release. I mean, Final Fantasy VII, the remakes are phenomenal games. It's a shame that some people didn't get to play it because of the timed exclusivity deals that were made. Now, some other great games that are awesome to play are the Transformer games that now they're from Activision, published by Activision. So Xbox could theoretically go out there and put them into Game Pass and do a lot of stuff with it if they can, I guess, get those licenses worked out and everything. And we've seen a lot about the Transformer games, and people are wondering when these are actually going to be dropping in Game Pass, or just dropping to be able to download and play them, maybe through the cloud as well. And we've seen some more information come out previously that made it look like it is, and now it is even more looking like this is going to happen. And we have this tweet here saying Transformer games are now available to install. You can see Transformer Devastation, Transformer Battlegrounds, Transformer Fall of Cybertron, The Dark Spark, Earth Spark Expedition, Battlegrounds Complete Edition, and it goes on. The list goes on. I think that is the last one. I'm not sure if there are any more ones from the specific Transformer license, but that is a large list of Transformer games here that right now, for some people, are showing up on their Xbox apps to be able to install and then go out there and play. I feel like because these keep popping up, these and like the older Call of Duties, and then potentially like a game like Deadpool and some of these other Marvel games, we're going to start seeing these announced to be dropping into Xbox Game Pass to be able to play, or be able to be played via the cloud if you've purchased them as they expand that program out. It would be very, very smart. To me, it's an easy cash in. Transformers is a huge IP. A lot of people would be excited, even though these are older games. They are some really, really great games. They're really fun. I mean, even the last one, the Transformers Devastation, a phenomenal game. It would be really cool to see them come out with an announcement where a lot of these backwards compatibility games, aside from the Spyros and Crashes, which we've already been getting in older Call of Duties like MW3, and then obviously the new one, Black Ops 6, they start putting more of these back catalog games into Game Pass for everybody to go check out and enjoy. And it just keeps showing up. There's probably something brewing here. 2025, on top of all the first party games, we're probably going to get some really cool game announcements for Game Pass from the back catalog of ABK. One of the games that is also coming out in 2025, which every time I see more gameplay of South of Midnight, I get more and more excited about it. I mean, the game looks phenomenal. Graphically, one of the coolest, I would say, art styles they went with like the stop motion. But then also the gameplay just looks really fun. And we got some more combat that was shown off here for South of Midnight. It's a 20-minute clip, but you can see just the different abilities, the enemies, and everything going on here for this game. It looks like Compulsion is coming into their own with the combat in South of Midnight. And hopefully we do see this at the developer direct. I would assume this is going to be a major game they do focus on, as this is coming out relatively soon. So they're probably going to go into the backstory of it, how the development went, more information on South of Midnight, and then maybe some more gameplay. But we get some more combat here. I think it looks very good. So I'm very excited to eventually jump into play this game. And this is one of the many first party games Xbox does have coming in 2025. You add that into what we were just talking about, like backwards compatible games like Transformers. If all this stuff does end up hitting, 2025 is going to be one of the most insane years to be an Xbox gamer, to have Game Pass, to be able to jump in and play all of these titles. All right, so on top of Xbox looking great, Nintendo is going to have potentially a massive 2025 here with the Nintendo Switch 2. And when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, my expectations are an upgrade to the Nintendo Switch, but nothing mind-blowing. Like, it's not going to be compared at all, I would say, in terms of like what it can do graphically and FPS and all that stuff to the Series X or the PlayStation 5. maybe closer to the Xbox Series S, but I still think it'll be even less powerful than that. I would say it's probably more along the lines of like the PS4 Pro in terms of power. But that would be a phenomenal Nintendo handheld. They'll be able to put a lot of stuff on there. A lot of modern AAA games will be able to run, 30 frames per second. But Nintendo probably doesn't care too much about that. And most gamers on the Switch don't really. If you're playing on the Switch as your main, you're not really caring about frames per second or high resolutions. We've seen a lot of leaks about it. We've seen the doc come out. Basically, has been shown that was a real picture. We've seen some stats about the screen size and backwards compatibility. And now we may have a look here at when the release date would be. If you remember with the current Nintendo Switch, the Walmart Gaming Canada accidentally leaked the release date for the Nintendo Switch, which was an absolutely hilarious story when that did happen. And now we have this Italian website here who is saying that it could be launching on March 28th. But again, this is a rumor. Just take this with a grain of salt. It says here that the Italian website UAGNA shared this rumor that the Nintendo Switch 2 accessories, first party as well as third party ones, will launch on the market on March 28th. And that would lead you to believe that would be the release date. I would actually look at that release date and say, this could very well be true. I mean, this falls in line as to how I think Nintendo is going to go about this announcement and this release. We're probably going to get a Nintendo Direct in early 2025 in January. It would be my best guess. And it's going to be a very quick release timeframe. It's not going to be like where you have to wait an entire year for the Series X when they did announce it at the Game Awards. It's going to be something where it's, here's the Nintendo Switch 2. Here's everything that you can consider to upgrade if you want to pick it up. We're still going to support the current Nintendo Switch, but the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible. You're just going to get all of these advantages of picking up a Nintendo Switch 2, and then it launches, boom, in a couple of months or in March. I would absolutely see that happening because this console, I'm sure, is ready. Devs are having it in their hands, making games for getting their upgrades ready for it. We've heard rumors about that. So it is going to be very soon until we see this Nintendo Switch 2 come out. And it has me even more interested in how this is going to shape the landscape of the handheld market. We know CES 2025 is coming up with a specific gaming handheld conference. Jason Ronald's going to be there talking Xbox. You're going to have a Steam OS handheld from Lenovo, so they're selling and licensing off their SteamOS to other manufacturers. So there's going to be just so much players in this game. And then you're going to have the Nintendo Switch 2 coming in, which, yes, is going to be less powerful and it's going to slightly target, I would say, a different demographic. But with how popular the Switch is, these companies have to look out for the Switch 2 to try to get people to choose their handhelds where you're paying more money, versus people who would look at this and say, well, I'm also able to play some of these games on the Switch too, but then I get all the Nintendo games and everything. It's going to be a major player in the gaming industry. So very interesting 2025. It's going to be a very fun 2025 if this does get announced and it does release, with how it's going to stack up to what Xbox and PlayStation are going to be doing going forward. And then there's also the PC side of things, which is on a totally different level. And especially with the new cards that are coming out, we have lots of rumors going around here in regards to the RTX cards. The new 5080 and the 5090 has been rumored and everything, but the pricing of this stuff is crazy. This is going to be for the highest end gaming rigs, people who want to spend top dollar, and to see how big of a jump they get from, like, let's say a 4080 or 4090 to these new NVIDIA cards. We don't know yet, but the pricing is going to be crazy. It says here, NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 5080 is rumored to feature a whopping $1,500 MSRP, marking a huge difference from the GeForce RTX 4080. And basically what this leak is coming from is a YouTuber apparently claiming that information about the expected retail tag of the NVIDIA RTX 5080 and arguing that the SKU could cost up to $1,587 or $2,554 Australian dollars, which means it's probably gonna be like 2,000 Canadian dollars. And they also say here it's a massive rise from its previous gen counterpart, which had an MSRP of $11.99. They have some screenshots here where they're showing the cards manufactured by Asus and then the actual pricing of what that card is going to be. So it's about a $300 increase compared to the RTX 4080, I believe, when that did come out. And you have to ask, is it going to be worth that upgrade? Is it going to be worth that extra 300? Is there that big of a jump here when you're comparing the launch of the 4080 to the 5080? And then we also have this, which we're getting a leak here for the Asus's next gen RTX 50 series cards and then the Radeon RX 9000 series. I believe we've seen some leaks here for the RX 9070. And the SKUs have surfaced online, revealing the new ROG Astral model as well. So this is the tweet, and you can see it here. It says the ROG Astral RTX 5080 016G gaming. So that has been leaked. And then also the Asus TUF RX 9070 XT 016G gaming. So I'm guessing that is just the model number there. And there's also the Prime RX 9070 XT and the Prime RX 9070. So all of those are coming out here in advance of CS, where I'm sure we'll see a lot more about this. And we'll get more look at these cards and everything and what the future of gaming is going to be like. My big thing here is that, at least on the console side, because that's where I spend most of my time gaming, we are in that time of diminishing returns. Like, even when the next generation of consoles come out, comparatively from the Series X to whatever Xbox has next, or to the base PS5 to whatever PlayStation has next, will it be a huge jump? Probably not. It'll probably just give you just steadier frame rates and slightly better resolutions and slightly better ray tracing. It's not going to be something that's too crazy. And it will not be the same here on the PC side. Like, if you already have a 4080, will getting a 5080 be that big of a difference and affect the way that your games play and look? Who knows? But it's, like I said, 2025, at the beginning of this, we're getting a lot of information. We're going to have CS information on handhelds. We're going to also probably see more about these CPUs, PC GPUs. We're going to be seeing, hopefully, the Xbox Developer Direct. I'm almost positive that is going to happen, where we're going to get more information on games coming out this year, which is already a massively stacked lineup, but maybe some surprises for Game Pass, maybe some surprises like a game like Everwild. You never know, but 2025 at the beginning of it is very, very fun. So we're looking forward to all of that. But I'll end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
We'll be right back.